my name is Megan Fesperman and I'm a senior majoring in interior design. Today I'm going to walk you through the concept and wayfinding portion of the Next Hub DC campus project through the use and application of evidence-based design theories. We will start off with concept. My concept statement is the Next Hub will be a space that is calming, relieves stress, and improves mental health through the incorporation of nature and natural elements visually and physically. I plan on using an analogous color scheme of greens and blues inspired by calming scenes found in nature. By implementing the ideas found through my research, I want to use nature as a way to improve cognitive function, innovation, and health and well-being by creating a space that supports and facilitates learning. Elements and principles of design. So I chose form, space, and organization, and shape, balance, and mood. So form is the visible shape or configuration of something. Space is an area around a positive shape or the negative space created by this shape. Organization is the structure of related or connected items. So I want these to be flexible and intuitive, a reflection of how nature itself flows, changes, and moves to accommodate change. The high traffic areas and the louder areas will be grouped together to manage sound, and no space is there by accident. So shape can suggest femininity or masculinity through the use of angle and geometry. Think of how shapes work together in the design. Balance is the distribution of weight or emphasis among visual elements, and mood is suggestive or inducing of a particular feeling or state of mind. It is, in essence, the spirit of the design. So this design will be including simple shapes found in nature that reflect the meaning or the meandering of woods and streams. Symmetry will be found in the architecture of the building, but the rooms and placements of them will be asymmetrical and more organic. Nature isn't perfectly symmetrical anyway, and the space will be hopefully free from stress and tranquil. We'll move on to the research and evidence-based theories that I found. So I used restorative environmental theory, humanistic design, biophilic design, and andragogy. So restorative environmental theory is the theory that physical environments can affect both the physical and mental well-being of the users through the presence of natural elements. So it's important to design a space that promotes physical, mental, and emotional healing, as it is a much healthier and more innovative space. The presence of nature in my space will serve two functions: creating a curative environment and cleaning the air. So humanistic design focuses on designing for the user. It's the emphasis on the well-being. It's focused on the humans that use the space. It emphasizes how we use the senses to view the world around us. And I tend to use this by implementing sounds of nature and that of soft music to hopefully mask some of the noises of the city. City noise has been known to increase heart rate, and increased heart rate leads to stress, and we don't want that in a space of learning. My next theory that I used was biophilic design. So it is the idea to increase a user's connectivity to natural environment through the use of direct nature and indirect nature. Emphasize the presence of nature and the presence of natural elements when nature itself is unattainable or unavailable. Like in a city, you can't just look out your window and see a whole forest. So my idea is to use plants, natural views, and plants, walls, and sounds of nature in most every space. It'll be harder in some spaces than others, but that is my goal. And then my last theory is andragogy and how it applies to higher education. So andragogy is the study of how adults learn and how to best facilitate that learning. One way is distance education, which is user-oriented, self-paced. It's an individualized learning process. It's implemented a lot in master's programs and online programs, especially for those who are already in the workforce, as it allows them to work at a pace that is comfortable for them and they can work around their current obligations. The Next Hub is using a modified learning experience, so it's a gathering place for online studies like distance education studies. So we'll move on to color direction. So I plan on using an analogous color scheme of greens and blues, and I picked these colors for a reason. So dark blue symbolizes integrity, knowledge, power, and seriousness. And blue symbolizes tranquility, calm, stability, trust, confidence, security, technology. It's the color of water and sky. Green symbolizes nature, the environment, health, and good luck. It also symbolizes renewal and service. I wanted the use of color to take the user from downtown DC, which is a bustling concrete jungle, to soaring mountains and rushing rivers, which is where I got my inspiration from. I will introduce neutral elements, neutral colors through natural elements like wood and stone, and neutral paint colors. So concept sketches that I came up with, these were some of my favorites. So they're titled The Tree Stairs, which is the one on the top, the Child Care Mountain, the one the bottom left, and then the Waterfall Stairs, which is the bottom right. So the tree stairs would be central tree that the stairs wrap around. There will be seating underneath the stairs so they can study alone or with one other person. It'll be a quiet space, but also feel like they're studying in a forest and not in the middle of a city. And then I'll have a wooden railing to reemphasize the presence of nature. The Child Care Mountain Tree would be wooden risers for playing and or reading in the Child Care Center. There's an hourly child care facility located on site. Because their type of student is not necessarily a traditional right out of high school college student. It can be any kind of online student, so more of an adult or a younger student. So some of these adults may need childcare provided, and it would be easy if it's on site. So I wanted these kids to have a place where they could play and let their imagination run and feel like they are playing in a forest or playing in the mountains. So that was the inspiration for this concept sketch. And then the waterfall stairs, which are my favorite. The treads would be brown to mimic wood, while the risers are green as if they're the leaves or the foliage to like mimic nature in a tree. And then there's this beautiful waterfall encased in glass surrounding the stairs. It will allow the sound of the waterfall, which would be similar to a rushing or meandering little creek, which is a calming sound. And because it's in the stairs, it'll be able to be heard on both floors, which was my goal. So next we'll move on to wayfinding. So my wayfinding concept is the next hub will be a building of intuitive traffic patterns and easy movement. I want to diminish the stress that comes from the difficulty of some building layouts and of endless connecting hallways. I want to provide easily accessible and readable signage that directs the users to the desired room or floor without stress or confusion. The order of rooms and traffic patterns should be intuitive and flow easily and simply like an ambling creek through the landscape or the branches of a tree diverging from its trunk. So the first picture on your left, very top, is of a tree. This was my first inspiration. I wanted one main hallway to be the trunk of the tree and each of the classrooms be the branches coming off of that one trunk. So there's no a million hallways to get lost in. There's one main central hallway and then all the rooms branch off from that one hallway. The middle picture is my inspiration for what I want to use as my signage. I want it to be easily understood. I want it to be accessible. So anyone, whether they're a daily user of the space or a visitor of the space, knows where they are and knows where they're going. The bottom picture is an app that is currently being implemented in large airports and train stations. It is basically Google Maps for the building. So it tells you exactly what floor to go to, what room to go to, how to get there. And I wanted to combine this technology with the app that would allow students to reserve tutoring rooms, faculty reserve the 3 shared offices, or they could reserve the video conferencing pod that I envision being in the space. So it's an all-inclusive app that would have both the ability to reserve a space and the ability for a visitor to know exactly where they need to go. So next I have my user journeys. So a user journey is the way in which a user accesses and moves around and within a space. It's their most likely path of travel based on approach, arrival, destination, activity, and departure. I created 3 user journeys, one from a student perspective, one from a visitor's perspective, and one from a faculty perspective. So as a student, you would approach and you would approach from either the elevator or one of the 2 stairwells, and you would arrive on either the 10th or the 11th floor, which is where the next hub campus is located. And you might wait before class gets started because you're there early, so you can go to one of the learning commons on either the 10th or the 11th floor, which is right off the elevator, so you can wait for class to start, or you can go straight to your classroom or your tutoring center, whatever you need to do. And then when you are in your space, you will engage in the target activity, which is either learning or working on a project or getting tutored. And then you could leave the building. That may be all you were there for that day. Or you could go to another classroom for another class, or the tutoring center from a classroom to meet with faculty. And then after you finish whatever that other target activity is, you could do another if you needed to, or you could just leave. Their final departure would be them leaving the building. Moving to exit would be taking the stairs or the elevator back down to the main floor. So for a visitor, there's a lot less options because they're usually not going to be there as long as a student or as long as a faculty member. So a visitor will approach and arrive, same way a student would, stairs or the elevator, and usually they would go to a waiting place, whether waiting on someone to guide them where they need to go, waiting on an administrator to take them on a tour of the campus, or a faculty member to take them as if they're a guest lecturer maybe. And they'll arrive at their destination eventually, whether they're a guest lecturer, they could give their guest lecture, or if they're a visitor, like a visiting student, they could potentially just sit in on a class. And most likely they're only there for 1 or 2 events and then they'll leave, same way they came in. A faculty has a lot more options. They have an entire faculty connection hub, which has 3 faculty private offices to meet with students, as well as just work independently. Then they have a place where they can video conference with other campuses or other faculty. So they have more options on top of just the tutoring center or a classroom. So that's why you see more different lines and different movements in this one. So they will approach and arrive the same way everyone else has. Usually they won't have much waiting. They'll go straight to whatever their destination is. They will engage in their target activity, whether it's giving a lecture, facilitating presentations, tutoring a student, meeting with other faculty. They could leave after that one event. They could go to another meeting or another class, and eventually they will leave the same way they came in. That is a user journey. Those are 3 of the user journeys I imagined a possible student, visitor, or faculty could go through. Thank you for sitting and listening to my presentation about the next hub, and have a great day.